Back and see it.
Didn't have the very beginning of the meeting.
I didn't bring a little thing to put in my face. It's somebody else's face on it. So people.
Ready to roll?
Yeah, you ready?
Mhm.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Let's call to order the Wednesday, September 17th, 2025 meeting of the Quaker Valley Council of Governments Board of Delegates. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Retro.
Patrick, can we do roll call?
Certainly. Aleppo. Oh, it said we have someone in the waiting room. Aleppo. Lakers. Ben Avon. Ben Avon just joined. Teddy's here. Ben Avon Heights.
Here.
Edgeworth.
Here.
Emsworth.
Here.
Glen Osborne.
Here.
Glenfield. Hayesville. Kilbuck.
Here.
Leet.
Hi, everyone here.
Leedsdale. Sewickley.
Here.
Sewickley Heights.
Here.
Sewickley Hills.
Here.
That's a quorum.
Okay, excellent. We'll move on to item 4 on the agenda, public comment or guests. We do have some guests.
Yeah, so we have 2 presentations today. So first up, let me just go ahead and pull up the agenda. First up is going to be George Martinez, who is the executive director for the American Red Cross Western Pennsylvania chapter. So we, one of the pillars of our organization, one of the 4 or 5 topics that's come up, over the last 5 years is emergency preparedness, emergency response, and emergency management. And I was connected with George and invited him to speak with our group to introduce himself, his organization, and just try to connect everyone should anything happen. We have a great resource here in the American Red Cross. So with that being the case, George, please feel free to take the floor.
Thank you, Patrick, and good evening, everyone. And thanks for having me. I actually meant to be in person today, but got overtaken by events. Life does happen. So anyway, I do have a presentation. Let me apologize. Who wants to see a 20-slide PowerPoint presentation at 7 p.m. on a Wednesday? But we'll move quickly through it. And I think the richness here is going to be just based on the discussions we had. So I just want to give you an overview of the Red Cross in general, and then near the end, I'll show you some of the numbers of what we're doing here in the Southwest PA chapter, and then just have see any questions or discussions that you may want to have around what the Red Cross provides to our communities. So, with that, Patrick, if you wouldn't mind doing the slides, that would be wonderful, and please stop me at any time.
Sure thing. Now, do you want me to do the slides, or you can share your screen, whatever you prefer? I can do it though if you want.
Well, sure. I mean, I can do. I have it up just in case, but yeah, I can do it. I just won't be able to see anyone. So if there's any questions, someone please just stop me. I already screwed up. Hold on a second.
Oh, no worries. Take your time.
I'm new at this computer thing.
Yeah, glasses.
Oh, you know what? Actually, it'll be better if you do it because we use Teams and you're doing Zoom and I don't know.
Yeah, no problem at all. I'll go ahead and pull it up right now. All right, so share. All right, take it away.
All right. So is this live? So will you be able to play the video that's on here?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, let's go to the second. So this is just a quick overview of the Red Cross, and we'll just do that quickly if you wouldn't mind. The video was the second slide. Yeah. There should be sound. All right, Patrick, we can go to the next slide. I apologize for the sound there. I'm not sure that it came in through, and this was not meant to be a recruiting event, but if you're so inclined after this presentation, you'd like to join us, we certainly would love to have you. But at the end of the day, we're humanitarians. And I'll let you just read our mission statement there quickly, but really the two things to focus on: the power of volunteers at the bottom and the generosity of donors. So as you saw in that presentation, we have about 300,000, it's actually just south of that now, volunteers that carry out our work. About 90% of what we do are done by volunteers. So those beautiful Red Cross vests that you see out in your communities, it's very, very likely that those are volunteers. So next slide. So we're uniquely positioned. We're a nonprofit. We're a 501c3, but we do have a congressional charter to do three things. Number one is service to the armed forces. We were, at the end of the day, born on the battlefield, and we do that in many ways. We'll get to that here in a second. We're also chartered with providing response to natural disasters, to major natural disasters, but we do that both large and small. And lastly, to collect the nation's blood supplies, which we do to the tune of about 40%. So we're the largest blood bank in the country. All these things that I'm mentioning here happen in our backyard as well. And one thing to note, because we're a 501c3, there's often confusion whether we are government or not. And of course, we're not. And you're not going to see a Red Cross line item in the appropriations bill, in the federal appropriations bill. Our money comes really from the donors, whether it's monetary donations or blood donations. So next slide. We've got three lines of business: biomedical services, as you would imagine, the blood collection, blood manufacturing piece, training services, the life-saving, first aid, CPR, swimming, that sort of thing, and then humanitarian services, which is where we are. We're the outward-facing part of the organization, and we do the disaster response, which is probably most prevalent or most relevant here to this discussion. International services, service to the armed forces, volunteer recruitment, raising funds, all sorts of things fall under our purview. So next slide. I'm going quick. The need for blood is constant. There you have it. Every 2 seconds, someone in the U.S. needs blood. As I mentioned, we're the largest blood bank in the U.S., and we hope that you donate blood with us, but we're just happy that you donate blood. So we have a lot of competition in the Pittsburgh area, particularly by talent. Again, the biggest thing is just to make sure, because the need is so great, that the blood supply is there. Again, we hope it's with the Red Cross, but it's not. We're just happy that people are donating blood. Next slide. And I know I'm flying, so please stop me at any time. Next slide. All right. And if I were to do a poll right now, who's got a Red Cross story? Who's ever, dealt with the Red Cross, whether it's, donating blood or needing, blood supply for whatever reason for yourself or a loved one, or doing first aid CPR, or from the military perspective, having some interaction with the Red Cross. I would fathom and guess that there would be a lot of folks in this audience that have some sort of Red Cross story. But again, first aid CPR, as I mentioned, one of the pillars of what we do. Next slide. And next slide. So we respond to emergencies. Again, you can read that slide as well. And I know you all heard about that last Tuesday, a week ago from yesterday, that 50-unit apartment fire in Squirrel Hill, right? Where that was a total loss, and actually also impacted The two adjacent units, one was a 20 unit building, the other one was 15 unit building. We opened up a shelter. We provided direct client assistance, and we can talk to that a bit more here when we get to the later slides. But we are there during the darkest moments, and sometimes we're the only folks there as well. You can envision when somebody experiences a home fire, which is potentially the most devastating, day of their life, and the first responders leave and they're sitting there curbside. What do we do next? Well, that's where the Red Cross comes in. We provide a whole host of services. We provide financial assistance as appropriate and a path to recovery. Next slide. And again, so if anyone in this room, for example, if I was to experience a home fire, I'm going to be okay, assuming that everybody gets out safely, right? I have access to many resources, certainly have family and other loved ones that can help as well, but not everybody does. And so we help everyone. And, we have agreements with fire departments, with EMAs, and they always know to call us. And even if they don't, and we see that there was a fire that happened somewhere through open source, either the news, radio, newspaper, whatever, which we do scour, by the way, we'll reach out to those individuals and see if they need our assistance. So next slide. And this is just to say the needs for our services are just growing exponentially. And frankly, the way that we are staffed and the way that we're built right now, it's probably not sustainable for 10, 15, 20 years down the road as those services our needs continue to increase. I mean, just think everything from last couple of years, right? From the Maui fire to Helene Milton to most recent, the Los Angeles fires. People here in our chapter, in our region, deploy pretty significantly, and we always have folks deployed. As a matter of fact, I don't have the exact number right now, but have somewhere between 10 and 20 people deployed in various parts of the country. We're still in Maui. We're still in North Carolina, and certainly still in Los Angeles. So that need is huge. Next slide. All right, next. So as I mentioned, we were born on the battlefield, and I'll just let you read this quickly. There's many ways. It's really from when a member, enlists or joins the military, and however form that they do that, through kind of from a cradle to grave. We take care of our service members in various ways. Happy to talk through any of this at some point if there's more questions, but in the spirit of keeping it going, next slide. And you'll have access to these slides. So this is us, 230 chapters. Go ahead, next slide. Nationally, so we're a national organization with global reach, but a hyper-local focus, which is what we do. So we're part of the Northeast Division, as you see up in the northeast part of the country, in that purple area. Next slide. And so that's us. So you got 5 counties in the southeast part around Philadelphia. That's a different region. And every other chapter that you see there belongs to the greater Pennsylvania region, which is us, including the Southwest PA chapter, headquartered here in Pittsburgh. Next slide. And then here's some statistics. This is what we did in our chapter in fiscal year 25. Fiscal year for us runs from July 1st through June 30th. So, if you think about this, behind all these numbers, it's a client, it's a person, it's a living thing. So we, as you see, helped nearly 1,300 people affected by over 300 disasters. And there's many ways in which we did that. Hosted nearly 400 blood drives, providing almost 10,000 units of blood. And you can read the rest. So that's a lot of the goodness that we do here in the Greater Pennsylvania, in the Southwest PA chapter. One other thing that I will mention, so really the biggest threats for us in our mission from a disaster perspective are 2 things, and that is home fires. That's number one by a lot, and then the second, as you would imagine, is flooding, which is not the only things that we respond to. As you can see, there's transportation incidences, and you all heard, unfortunately, about the shooting where 5 police officers were shot in York County. We reach out to those individuals, see how we could help in many ways. So we were, when the Butler shooting, the assassination attempt happened, we were there as well, helping law enforcement, doing canteening, what we call canteening, helping with, feeding and feeding them and providing coffee and that sort of thing around the clock for 5 days. So we also provide mental health service for individuals and experience a home fire, for example. It's not long term; it's in the short term. Same thing with spiritual care if they're so inclined. So. And then we provide wraparound services and other resources that we can do a warm handoff to these individuals to help them in the path to recovery. So I know that was a lot. I'll just stop there, and then we can drill down to whatever you'd like. Any questions you may have, or thoughts about the Red Cross in general. Happy to hear.
How does a municipality get in touch with the Red Cross if a disaster occurs?
So many ways. Well, you can, of course, always call 1-800-RED Cross, but that's going to be slow. But go through your EMA director, go through your fire department. If there's a disaster, we're probably going to be there already. So, if someone is at the disaster, you can come over and talk to us. But that would probably be the quickest way. Is whoever's leading that response, they're already going to have us on their Rolodex, because we're second responders, right? We're not the first responders. Does that help answer your question? And of course,
Sure. Yes.
Patrick has my number now as well. So, and as does Ann and her husband, who is our board chair. We're very, very, grateful to have him as well. And Ann, of course.
I have a question. I had heard on the news that there's some concern within FEMA that they would not be equipped to handle natural disasters maybe as well as they have been in the past. So I wonder, what are your thoughts on how the Red Cross either fills in gaps or assists with FEMA, or just any thoughts you have on that topic?
Yeah, that is a great question, and it's the $1 million question, right? Actually, more than that, given the times that we live. So I've met with the FEMA director, Randy Padfield, in Harrisburg, and it is a great unknown. And I know you see everything on the news from we're not ready or equipped, as you mentioned, to respond. We're not really certain what our mission is. What I would say is, look, we're going to be there. We have to stay within our swim lane, meaning what we do. A lot of the things of what FEMA does is they do many great things, but a large part of that is writing large checks, right? Which is not what we do in our capacity to do. So really what our guidance is when these major disasters happen, because the questions are going to be asked, hey, what about, whatever is not happening that has happened in the past? We're staying very close to our state partners, right? We have great partnerships already existing, so that whatever gap, FEMA no longer provides, whatever mission that they used to provide no longer happens. We can try to tackle that together. The thought is the way it's structured, and I don't want to speak for the federal government, but that money that the federal government no longer is using because they're not doing those declarations as freely as perhaps it's happened in the past, that money was supposed to trickle down to the states. So that was the thought. Whether it's happening or not, I have no idea, but at least for us, we're ready and we'll always respond. We might take some hits and things that really are not because of us, but because FEMA's not there in the way that it used to be. So it's a great question to be determined. And I will say one other thing too, which is it's really a blessing. I don't want to use the Q word. That means the opposite of loud, because that's bad luck in the Red Cross. But this hurricane season has been that. We've been very, very lucky to date to not have a major hurricane impact the United States. But when that happens, that'll be telling, and we'll see what happens. But that's a great question. Great question.
It sounds like for us at the local level that we would focus in on FEMA to get assistance, beyond
Absolutely.
our local responders. Okay. Thank you.
That's right. And we're still here. So we're still going to provide our assistance, but again, keep in mind, that's really for the first, 3 to 5 days, depending on what's going on.
Thank you.
Of course.
Any questions on Zoom?
So, George, since fire is such an issue in Pennsylvania, you do the sound the alarm. Could you tell people a little bit more about that and how we might bring it to our communities if we wanted to focus on that?
Absolutely. So what Ann's referencing is we have sound the alarm events. Essentially, we install free smoke alarms to anybody who asks, who has that need. In our region, we've installed anywhere between 12 to 15,000 in any given year. So, but it's not just the installation of these smoke alarms. And the reason we install them, because we know if we just leave them there, they'll probably just sit on a counter, for a long time. But we also provide training. This is what you do in case of a home fire. And we leave with them materials of, how to provide an escape plan. We also go into schools, elementary schools, and we teach the children these same techniques and these same things. And the thought is, when a child goes home and says, "Mom or Dad, this is what I learned at school," it kind of makes them listen, right? Like, you know what, I never really thought about it, or I haven't tested my, smoke detector in X number of years. So yeah, we provide free smoke alarms. We do it, upon request, and we also have targeted communities, particularly under resource communities that we go in purposefully, typically partnering with the local fire department. And another piece in Greater Pennsylvania, actually in the Commonwealth, which is really sad, we're among the leaders in the nation in fire fatalities. So in any given year, we about anywhere between 120 to 175, 180 people perish in our state. Per capita, we're always number one, and oftentimes even not per capita, we're number one, but always in the top 3 to 5. So it's a sad statistic, but it's one that, obviously there's awareness around, even in the political realm to some extent, that we're trying to get a little more traction behind to see what we can do. I will tell you, here in Allegheny County, actually in our Southwest PA chapter, trying to get all the data that we can in terms of fire fatality, who died, and whatever information we have. And we're partnering with University of Pittsburgh, to see what, some data scientists to take a look at that data and see what it's telling us, just kind of as a start as to how we can maybe address that a bit more. So anyway, that's just some of the things we do. And if you have an interest of bringing the Red Cross into your elementary school, let me know, and we can certainly set that up as well.
Perfect. Any other questions for George on Zoom or in person? Going once. All right. George, thank you so much for coming out this evening. I really appreciate it. And again, it's always great to put a face and a name to an organization that can be so valuable if the worst does happen in our community or our region. So again, thank you. I'll forward the presentation that you sent today individually to our board. It's in your board package as well. And feel free to reach out to George if you have any questions or ideas that maybe you want to collaborate with him.
Thank you. And thank you in all seriousness, right? I mean, any organization, we're in a commonwealth where there's a bunch of little fiefdoms, as we all know. Any organization that can bring people to the table to have dialogue and, make these connections is just critically important. It's leadership 101. So thank you all for what you do as well.
Awesome. Thanks again.
Thank
All
you.
right. Take care. Bye.
Thank you.
All right. Next up this evening, we have another presentation. This is going to be from the Hollow Oak Land Trust and their executive director, Mr. Sean Brady. So, Sean, if you wanted to take over, you can either share your screen or I can do the same thing I just did for that last presentation, whichever you prefer.
You bet. You bet. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Great. And can you see Greenways for the Win?
You can.
Okay, great. Excellent. Yeah, so my name is Sean Brady. Patrick, thanks for having me as part of the meeting. Try not to be too long. We all love our personal missions, but there are some things that we're working on at Hollow Oak Land Trust I think that will be of interest to you guys. We're a land trust, so Hollow Oak is a land trust just like Allegheny Land Trust. You've probably heard of them. I know they're very involved with you guys. Also, Western PA Conservancy. Hollow Oak, our office is in Moon Township at Robin Hill Park. A lot of our acreage is in Moon Township as well. But we do work on both sides of the river, both the north and south sides of the Ohio River. Our focus area is the whole corridor between downtown and the airport. Back in the 90s, some folks got together and said, "Oh my God, they're developing every green space. Maybe we should save some of it." And that was a time when the population was declining, land development was skyrocketing. So that's the definition of urban sprawl. So that's what spurred the creation of Hollow Oak. So let me buzz through a couple of slides here. Got some pretty pictures there. You see our website, hollowoak.org. There are all kinds of trail maps and information there if you ever want to go for a hike or a mountain bike ride. All right, let's see here. Will it go? Will it advance? Okay, good. Yeah, just a little background on myself. I helped start Venture Outdoors in let's see when it was, 2001. Yeah, 2001 Pittsburgh wasn't a very outdoorsy kind of place. So I am a big outdoor recreationist, and Pittsburgh needed some of that. We were still stuck with that dirty old steel town image. And once people started seeing kayaks in our promotional literature, Pittsburgh's reputation really transformed. So I've volunteered with a lot of different organizations, worked with them, continue to volunteer as a board member all over town, as most of us do. Like I said, we go back to 1991. Does anybody know Roy Kranick? He's been around for a while. Worked at Allegheny Land Trust, retired a couple of years ago. That's Roy in his hollow oak. That's our namesake tree. He was very inspired by this particular tree and thinking about all the wildlife and perhaps native peoples who used that tree for shelter. And that's inspired him to start Hollow Oak back in 1991. We're up to 9 different conservation areas, about 900 acres, most in Western Allegheny County, a little bit in Beaver County. So we're a very trail forward land trust. Western PA Conservancy, you might know, they focus on threatened and endangered species, very special, very rare creatures and plants and fungi and habitats that protect them. Allegheny Land Trust, they're all over Allegheny County. They do a lot of great work in land conservation. Hollow Oak focuses on trails. We really believe in the value of getting people outdoors. And we focus our work through the greenway lens. A greenway is sort of a linear corridor. It can connect public parks, it can connect trails, it can connect conservation areas. Basically, how do you connect the dots? And so I'll just share with you 3 different projects, the third one being the one most relevant to the COG. Okay, so Montour Woods. If you've been to Moon Township Park, can you see my cursor, by the way?
Yes.
When I move? Okay, great. So Moon Township Park is up high on a plateau. There's a stream valley that goes down to the Montour Trail where the Montour Run is. There's another stream valley that goes down to the Montour Trail over by Costco and Robinson. And so what we're doing is we're working to create this whole 10-mile loop, and we're getting very close to completing it. Right now, it already connects from Moon Township Park down to where the gun club is. Some people know it that way on the Montour Trail. A couple of miles on the Montour Trail, and then we're working our way up this stream valley. We've got one little parcel we got to get, and then this will be complete. This is our flagship project. We expect to be complete pretty soon. But you can see, sorry, I'll go back real quick. See all the trails? I mean, this is 12 miles of trails. We just had a mountain bike race last weekend, I should say. Started at Moon Park, comes down, basically 110 people raced these trails. So we used the best of breed approach, all the amenities of a park, but all the extensive trail work that we've done. And these are hand-built trails. These are volunteers building trails. Our slogan is, "You volunteer, we bring the beer." And it seems to work. So here's another Greenway project, the Swickley Bridge. Great big, beautiful landmass above that bridge. You might think of it, it almost looks like a mountain there. We expect this to be our 10th conservation area before the end of the year. And this greenway, the dotted line, will show how to connect Robert Morris through an elementary school property, cross these slopes, down into Coriopolis, up through our conservation area on Thorn Run, and up into Robin Hill Park, and then link it also to the Montour Trail. This is this amazing property with a potential for all kinds of overlooks. And then eventually, hopefully, we'll connect it across the Swickley Bridge to what we call the North Burrows Greenway. This is the corridor between everywhere from Swickley out to Pittsburgh, the city of Pittsburgh. Riverview Park, about 300 acres. Tom's Run Nature Reserve in Killbuck, about 300 acres. Those are 2 cornerstones, and then connecting through additional green space to get out to Swickley and beyond. There's a huge amount of potential for this greenway. Here's a better map. I just realized how unclear it is, but it'll give you the sense of how far it goes. So Swickley's over here to the left. There's a cluster of green spaces there. That'll be linked over to, here's Tom's Run, where that Kilbuck landslide was back in the day. Western PA Conservancy has a big, beautiful chunk of land there. Connecting that to Avonworth High School, down through Avonworth Park, where we're building trails with the municipal authority, and down into Vinegar Hollow, which is a conservation area owned by Hollow Oak Land Trust. And some of this is dotted lines for a reason. We haven't quite figured it out. But then get over to Bellevue. Bellevue has a beautiful cluster of parks. Bellevue Park, Denny Park, and Seville. These parks are so close, you could throw a football between them. Their entrances are on the exact opposite sides of all the parks. But when you start connecting smaller parks into complexes of parks, you essentially get a large, almost a regional size park. And so that's what we're looking at. We're looking at how to connect the dots. There are some clusters of beautiful green spaces, and then creating a corridor that would go all the way. What else was I going to mention? So Vinegar Hollow, this is in Ben Avon, Emsworth, and Kilbuck. The Anchor and Anvil coffee shop is right near here. We inherited a 100-year-old trail system, and it's a little bit of a spaghetti bowl. There's a lot of trails in there. So we're gradually improving and sort of clarifying the trail system there. But it's very close to Avonworth Park. We work very closely with Avonworth Municipal Authority. We, in fact, barter some services with them. We use the Mayernick Center for our big fundraiser called Brouhaha in March, 10 craft breweries, pairings menu, all that sort of thing. And we work with them to improve their trail systems. So yeah, that's the big corridor. I think it's most relevant. A couple of specific things might be of interest. Fern Hollow Nature Center in Swickley Heights, working with Sam Capizuta there on a potential greenway corridor coming down along Waterworks Road. Sorry, this isn't clearer, but coming down along Waterworks Road, we already have a trail easement that goes from the edge of Swickley on Waterworks up and over Aleppo over to Glen Mitchell. So this is sort of a dotted line just waiting to connect something. And fortunately, there's a project. Have you guys heard of the Franco Harris Memorial Park? A guy named Jim Fitzgerald, Watchword Worldwide is his company. He bought about 30 acres down here to develop. Sorry, where'd my cursor go? It's down near the bottom of Glen Mitchell Road, right near Glen Osborne School, the elementary school, and Mary Roberts Reinheit Park. So this is a future conservation area. His plan is to raise the money he needs to put the amenities in, and then he'll donate it to Hollow Oak. So we'll have a whole new trail system right there on the edge of Glen Osborne, or in Glen Osborne, on the edge of Aleppo. And then we'd like to connect that all the way up to the Nature Center. And then they already have some trails that continue, and then eventually make that into a loop. A little bit expanded here. Same thing. There's the loop, the Nature Center, Franco Harris Memorial Conservation Area down there. But then Sam was like, oh, goodness. So we do all kinds of programs over at Walker Park. So wouldn't it be nice to connect Fern Hollow Nature Center to Walker Park and up to Swickley Heights Borough Park? If you're a mountain biker or a hiker in the Swickley area or a horseback rider, you might know that there are a lot of informal trails in this area, a lot of handshake agreements that are maintained by personal relationships. As a land trust, accredited land trust, we focus on easements, but we would love to formalize some of the trails in the Swickley area through trail easements. And then public access is guaranteed forever and ever. That's the basic, that's the summary of the work we're doing in the QV-COG area. Do you guys have any questions?
Sean, this is Julie Barnes. We met outside the coffee shop, and you
Yes.
gave me your card a few weeks ago. There are a lot of people in Swickley very excited about something like this. people who want to see it happen probably don't know that you're working on it. And so I'll send you a follow-up email and give you the names and contact info of some of the people I'm thinking of.
Fantastic. And that is, I don't know exactly what you mean by they want to see this happen. Do you mean the formalization of trails?
Well, I don't know if they care really about the formalization. I think they just want to see the connection. Like they want to be able to get from one place to another on their mountain bike or through hiking and not ever be in a dangerous situation on a road.
Hallelujah. And you just described the need of Pittsburgh, greater Pittsburgh. We have lots of parks, lots of green spaces. Nothing connects to anything.
Right.
So connectivity is the future for us. That's one of the greatest needs of our region. I love to meet people who have that passion, have intimate knowledge about specific green spaces. So please do feel free to connect me to anybody.
I will, yeah. Some of the people that are actually maintaining some of those trails even, yeah. So I'll send you an email.
So it's a little
Sounds great.
outside your map, Swickley Hills, right along 79. We are definitely interested in trying to get trails as well. I have a meeting next week with the Allegheny Land Trust to talk about connecting our borough trail to them. Are you working as well with the Allegheny Land Trust? Is it all one plan or not really?
Wouldn't that be nice? We're good friends. I call us sister land trusts. They're in Swickley, we're in Moon, but we do work together. Hollow Oak has a very unique skill set of how to design trails through real rugged terrain. And they end up being beautiful, absolutely really enjoyable and minimal environmental impact. So that's our specialty. But yeah, we do work closely with Allegheny.
So then Swickley Hills would be kind of outside your footprint, or could we, at least chat about how we might be able to connect into this?
No, it's not outside of our footprint for trail planning. In terms of land acquisition, because that's some of the what we do as land trusts. Allegheny Land Trust might be better suited to acquire land, but when it comes to planning and designing trails, there's no one better than Hollow Oak.
All right, I want to talk with you. So Hunter Hopkins, I'm going to reach out to you.
Outstanding. Let's see. Here's my email address, sbrady@hollowoak.org. And hollowoak.org is a pretty fun website. If you want to get into the why, I think it's on our website. It's what we do. There's a nice map of some of our greenways there.
Good work, great work. Wow.
Any questions on Zoom or comments, thoughts?
I have a question about Waterworks Park. And I know that the Sewickley Police use part of the park for their target practice. And that sort of has taken it out of the recreational options. But when I was a kid growing up, that was my wilderness. I loved hiking up through the trails that are all through Waterworks Park, and wondered if there's any chance that we could use that trail system to do some connecting.
Absolutely. I don't know that specific terrain. Is that the area where there were caves?
Caves were the caves of, I live on Nevin Avenue, which is right at the bottom of Waterworks Road. So like that, what I have heard through like the lore, the local lore is that the caves were pretty close to the bottom of Waterworks Road, like up on Dixon Road, up in that area and the hillsides that there are caves. I've never seen the caves. But there are some trails right now along Waterworks Road that are closer to the road than where the shooting range is.
Mm-hmm.
So like I've hiked that, and I don't think it would be like in a danger zone to be near the shooting range. But it is still nearby, but it's not like right next to it.
Mm-hmm.
But there are probably already connections there, some connections there, Sean, along that Waterworks, from Waterworks to Fern Hollow, but there's some private property there. So that's where the easements become really important, especially in Swickley Heights.
and we'll be working closely with Sewickley Borough as well as the Water Authority on water in that waterworks area. The more connections, the better. If there's an obstacle like a shooting range, we'd work with the authorities to see what the options are. But yeah, the main corridor will be kind of more parallel to the road down low on the hill. But also another way to think about these things is arteries and capillaries, right? So there might be a main trail down along Waterworks Road with a smaller trail or two or three that go up the hill into communities. And I think that's really the future is all these little stream valleys can serve as conduits from individual neighborhoods to regional trail systems. That's what I think Hollow Oak is going to move into is, basically putting trails in any stream valley in Allegheny County.
Any thoughts on Zoom? Questions, comments?
Hey, this is Ellen. I'm from Edgeworth Borough. I'd be interested in talking to you about Walker Park. Even though it's in Leet, it's owned by Edgeworth and maintained by Edgeworth. And there's trails that we know are there that our borough does not actually maintain. They're just like done by private people. So I'd be interested in working with you to find out where those are and what we could do with them.
Yeah, it might be nice to get a little map of what exists because I think
Yeah.
there are people who maintain those trails, and
Yeah, that'd be great.
it takes a lot of work to keep them open. The trees continue to fall, and someone's got to cut those logs out. And I think the Sewickley area, Edgeworth and beyond, has a lot of really good volunteers.
Yeah, definitely. And we don't even know who they are. Like we know that somebody's up there. It's like little trail elves that just work their magic. But we have no idea and it's not us. So we would like to know more.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Reach out anytime.
Okay.
And speaking of Walker Park, the new Quaker Valley High School is going to be adjacent to Walker Park. And I'm curious about whether there could be trails that lead from a high school down into Walker Park.
There should be.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And usually, even on hilly terrain, there's usually a way to navigate through there. A couple of switchbacks, a couple of contour trails. So you're not going straight up and down hills. Nobody likes to do that. It causes a lot of erosion and sedimentation as well.
Any last comments or questions for Sean? Well, Sean, thank you so much for coming out. This is awesome. Again, I think you guys are doing so much that maybe a lot of communities aren't even aware of. And I wanted to make sure that we all heard what was going on because this is some really interesting and great stuff. So the presentations and the meeting packets, I'll again send that separately in another email. Please, forward it to your fellow local elected officials in your communities. Let them know. And this is all about connection. So literally, connect with Sean and his team, and maybe we can make these trails even more of a reality than they currently are. So really, really great stuff. Thank you so much.
And we love to write articles. So if you have community newspapers or magazines or online publications, please let me know, and I'd love to put together something that is specific to your communities.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks again.
Thank you. Good night.
Okay.
Sean, you mind if you, oh, there we go. Perfect. You feel free to stick around if you want to, but we're going to roll into our usual business now.
Okay.
All
Good
right.
luck, guys. Good night.
Let's jump. Thank you, Sean. Let's jump back up from new business to number 5 in our agenda, approval of the August 20th, 2025 meeting minutes. I'll take a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any questions or comments about the minutes from August? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion passes. Item 6, approval of August financial reports, unpaid bills list, and payroll summary.
So moved. Second.
Patrick, did you want to summarize for us?
We'll take a little dive into the budget later on in the meeting. A lot of bills came out this month. You might have noticed there was another audit that was for our GEDTF project in Glen Osborne. So again, we paid the audit up front. and then get reimbursed from the municipality after the fact. Also had our annual dinner invoice in the bills payable. So see, close to $5,000 that usually isn't there coming out of the account. But other than that, I think business as usual. And again, we'll take a deeper dive into the budget in a few minutes.
Okay, any questions or comments? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. And number 7, President's report. Oh, that's me. I was thinking it was you, Patrick. I guess this is, I don't think there's a lot to report on Route 65, which is our next item, but I will say that I heard that there were 2 accidents on Route 65 today by the Hayesville Light. And there was a fatality. The first accident happened and the traffic got so backed up that a lot of people were doing U-turns. And when somebody did a U-turn to try to get out of it, they caused another accident and ran into a motorcyclist who I think died. So, I mean, I just think we need to get our Route 65 plan. Because I was thinking about well, what are we doing right now for it? And what we're doing is working with Peter to try to work on signage, and it's really not addressing some of the core issues that are happening on 65. So I think we need to get maybe a committee meeting together again, Patrick, and just see how can we move forward.
Yeah, I mean, would we like to revamp that committee? Make a motion to restart it and seek some volunteers for that?
Yeah, would anyone like to make a motion to I guess re-enlist the Route 65 committee?
Okay,
No?
yeah, I'm not gonna be part of it, but I'll.
Okay, we
Yeah,
have a
I'd like
motion.
to.
Does anyone want to second the motion?
Draw second.
Okay. All right, any questions or comments? I guess I'll make a comment. I will be on the committee. And I would love if we could have 2 other delegates to be on the committee, and the 3 of us could meet with Patrick and we could figure out if there are any steps that we can take to go forward with. Even if it's just writing a letter from from the COG to PennDOT or something, just we can maybe do some brainstorming on that. Any other comments or questions?
Yeah, Julie, who's the representative for that area?
State representative or PennDOT? What are we talking?
State rep.
Oh, Valerie Gatos. Yeah.
Is she?
Yeah.
She's right up from the moon.
Yeah, and then
Right.
as you go closer to the Emsworth line past Glenfield, it'll be Arvin Venkat.
Okay.
So,
And then is Devlin Robinson, is that his
That would be him,
geographical
too.
area? Yeah. So even if we wrote, we could write letters to them.
I think, inviting them to, that call with those
Yes.
people that are on the Route 65 committee, I think would, again, would be a good idea to, 1, introduce yourselves if you don't know them, and 2, bring this up to them and let them know, hey, there's people dying here. What can they do and what can we do to help them get to the, the point where this isn't happening as much.
Donna, would you like to be on the committee?
Well, since I've opened my big mouth, sure, I'd be happy to join you.
We had our council meeting this past week, and I know OT ran 3 separate speed traps.
Yeah.
In adjacent with other departments, they spread
Yes.
them out. I forget the total number, but OT got 100 and some tickets written.
Yes. Wasn't that over the summer? They picked a few dates and coordinated
Was it
it.
They only had these last month.
Oh,
They
wow.
were reflective that because that number is included in our police reports, and he tells us why the numbers are so high.
Mhm.
So yeah, he did it with 2 other departments because they speed through, say, Emsworth,
Right.
see the police and say, "Oh, I'm safe," and go down a little further. And Swiftly sitting there, right? And so they do 3 at a time. Just people think they're safe.
Mhm. Right. Okay, any other questions or comments before we vote? All right, so we have a motion and a second to reignite the Route 65 committee. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Hi.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. And that would be the only comment that I have right now. Oh, I do want to thank everybody for coming to the to our reception, which was, I think, a great success, but I'll let Patrick elaborate on that in his report.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah.
And anyone else that's interested in joining the committee, just send me or Julie an email.
Yeah.
And we'll get a date set the next couple weeks, and yeah, we'll start again. Runs not built in a day, but it's a good foundation. We can start again and have that dialogue.
Yes. All right, so let's skip over 8 Route 65 report because we've covered that. To 9 Emergency Preparedness Committee update.
No report for our tri-borough committee. I think the Red Cross presentation sort of would serve as that report this month. Still trying to hammer out a date with the group, and once there's an update for them, I'll let everyone know.
Okay. Item 10 Grant Status Report.
Yeah, so again, a lot of projects are starting to wrap up as the construction season's sort of waning as the weeks go on here. We just finished up a bid that'll be opened up tomorrow for Leedsdale Borough for a Henley Park ADA Park sidewalk project. So excited to see what our results are there. And we'll also be having an Aleppo Township bid opening in a couple weeks too. So again, things are still moving on the bid front. The construction's starting to wind down. A lot of projects are being paid out. So again, the report is really for you guys too, as much as it is for me to keep track of where things are. If you see things that are sort of stagnant, feel free to reach out. Feel free to reach out to your manager or secretary, and we'll see what we can do to move things along. But as you can see, there's a lot of projects. So I'd be happy to answer any questions. But I think things are moving along pretty nicely for all of our projects.
And thank you for working on this, Patrick. Okay, moving on to item 11, Executive Director's Report.
Yeah, some exciting stuff just around the corner here. So first up, we'll talk about our Hard to Recycle event. This is going to take place at Northgate High School. So this is the first time our Hard to Recycle event is going to be on that end of our region. So really excited to see the turnout there. October 18th from 9 o'clock to 1 o'clock. Again, it's a registration-based event. So please, keep spreading the word in your communities. If people are calling about what to do with their TVs, dehumidifiers, tires, computer monitors, this is a great opportunity to dispose of it in a responsible and safe way. All the registration is they pay for everything right up front. So really it keeps the traffic moving throughout that 4-hour period. They're assigned a spot, if they paid, registered, they get a time slot, say at 10:30, they show up, things go away, they go home. So yeah, if you're interested in volunteering for that event, I know Daryl's done it in the past. If anyone's interested, please reach out to me. The perk of it, you get $70 worth of free recycled materials. So if you've got some TVs or your neighbor has some TVs or tires they want to get rid of, you can do it for free if you just come out for a few hours. Hopefully we have nice weather like we've had for the last 2 months. Nice, cool, sunny day. But I'd be happy to answer any questions on that front. But if not, just please promote it, and we'll see how the turnout is. Next up, we have, we don't want to talk about membership dues. We've done that as board. Intergovernmental reception recap. So this was our biggest event without a question. 90 people thereabouts showed up, which is like 25 more than we've ever had. We had 16 sponsors, which is again a record number of sponsors. I can only speak for myself, but it seemed like people enjoyed themselves, had a good time. The Edgeworth Club, as always, is a great location. Staff did an excellent job, I think, keeping all the food, out, all the drinks in glass, and serving everyone a good time. So thank you for everyone that came out. Thank you for everyone that helped promote the event. And my favorite part is always the recognition. Lee Nelson and Marty McDaniel were both recognized, and really nice moments there. So and we raised money for Animal Friends too, so they always seem to appreciate that. Just a quick summary: the event itself was a tick below $5,000, and we brought in over $9,000 in revenue. So about $4,000 in profit, which again is another record total. So thank you for everyone for making it what it was. Next up, CDBG. So we had our gaming grants that we approved last meeting. Our next cycle is the community development block grants. So these typically were always due, within 2 or 3 weeks of the gaming grants. Well, like the county's tweaking it a little bit, so it's from September 8th through December 1st. So we have almost 2 full months to review projects, get applications in. So if you have ideas for things in your communities specific to, let's say, water and sewer projects or ADA projects, sidewalks, doorways for your municipal buildings, parking spaces for parks, or your municipal buildings, facilities, feel free to reach out. We're expecting about double the amount of money that we're going to have to spend on these projects. The one caveat, which is a good caveat, the minimum request used to be $20,000. Now it's $50,000. So, we still are probably going to be funding about 6 projects, but instead of $20,000 or $30,000 as your reward, you're going to be around $50,000. So, highly encourage meetings with your engineers, your municipal staff. Let's talk through it. Again, there are some tweaks here with the timing, the money, but as a whole, the projects are still the same spirit. So looking forward to seeing what we get application wise. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Last up, we have internship opportunities. So a lot of our communities in the past couple of years have applied through the local government academies municipal internship program. The next cycle for 2026, that's going to kick off before you know it. So they're actually going to have a call on October 21st at noon. So if you're interested in hosting an intern, or maybe sharing an intern with another QBCOG member community, please register for that call. It'll be about 45 minutes. You'll get the summary of what they're looking for in applicants, what the internship program entails. And again, if you have any questions on that front, feel free to reach out. I play a pretty big role. I try to, at least, in that program as a board member, and would be happy to help advise you on applications and details you want to highlight there. So the actual opening of the internship application period will be on October 27th. So just a little under a week after that call with LGA. So it really is right around the corner. They're trying to get earlier interest, so that way they can connect the students, in their next semester, as opposed to rushing at the end of the spring semester. So I'd be happy to answer any questions on any of those topics, but a lot of good stuff going on. Any questions?
Okay. Thank you, Patrick. All right, so let's move on to new business. We've already had our presentations for tonight, so we'll move to item C, the consideration of the 2026 organizational budget.
Yeah, so I got together with the executive committee on September 10th. We met in this very room, Daryl, Maria, Jolie. So thank you for the three of you coming out and going over all the numbers. So we'll just summarize basically what we discussed, a couple bullet points here in your packet. First up, we're going to talk about regional asset district revenues. So these are the extra 1% sales tax you see on your receipts in Allegheny County. A portion of that goes to communities all throughout the county. So we get reports every month, and last year we saw a stagnation or even a decline in RAD revenues. So the COG will invoice communities based on a year-over-year increase. So if you brought in $105,000 last year and bring over $110,000 in this year, we would figure out a calculation for that $5,000 increase, invoice you for a quarter of that increase. So a couple $100 extra a month will be brought into the COG for our capital programs, and a small portion of that goes to our general fund. So 2024 to 2023, we saw a drop or stagnation, so we didn't invoice any communities. So that was actually the first time since I was hired that was the case. As we saw after the pandemic, we saw that RAD revenues really ratchet up year over year. It went up, 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 and up. And it was a pretty nice windfall for us. You never really want to budget for this line item because it's so unpredictable where it will go. For 2025 compared to 2024, we're seeing that will slowly tick up again. So we're anticipating about $12,500 for the COG in revenue through RAD, and that's going to be invoiced to every community. And the calculation for every town is a little different. 13 out of the 17 towns saw increase. The other 4 saw either stagnation or slight decline, so they won't be invoiced. So that's one big change from last year's budget compared to this year's. Next up, our recycling performance grant. So as of September 12th, I'm going to put this little line item together. we haven't received our recycling performance grant. So last year, for instance, we've received $26,888 for this. A chunk of that goes back to our member communities based on their residential recycling tonnage. The other portion, based on commercial tonnage, goes to our joint recycling fund. That helps pay for our hard to recycle event, helps pay for our glass dumpsters that we have, helps pay for our tree adoption event that we had this year, and other future, sustainable kind of events. So we still haven't received that money. My inclination is it's based on the state budget, sort of still being in limbo. So I have reached out a couple times to our grant coordinator and I haven't heard back. So I don't know what to base our budget on next year. So I'm just going to keep that number the same as what we budgeted this past year. But I just want to make everyone aware that you might notice a little bit of revenue missing. Not a little bit, almost $20,000. That's why. So hopefully we get that in the next couple weeks or month or so. But just want to make everyone aware. Project management with Allegheny County Economic Development. This is the money we get for administering community development block grant programs for our communities. So we budgeted pretty liberally of what we expect to bring in and the revenues in that front, and we're always undershooting it. So I brought the number down by about $10,000 for this coming year, because I think the $25,000 that we budgeted this year is more realistic to what we'll actually request and draw down. So I really wanted to make that number a little more refined. Service fee revenues, we're budgeting, for status quo. This is our zoning technical assistance program. Two communities, Aleppo Township and Leek Township, utilize this. We have a consultant that will go out, help with zoning code revisions, zoning hearing board meetings. In the past, we've had a code enforcement program. We could always dust that off if there's interest in it. But in past years, we've budgeted a higher number for administrative fees that we bring in based on two programs. Again, we're revamping that down, just acknowledging we have two communities that use the program for zoning, and we don't really anticipate at this time any growth. So next up, I want to highlight that we have our waste and recycling franchise fee. This is an extra $9,716 that we get from our current hauler, which is Waste Management. It's based on a quarter, every 1 quarter, every quarter for every household in the waste and recycling contract. So wanted to highlight that's a nice revenue stream for us that's going to stay exactly the same. Next year's our last year of our garbage contract. So it'll just be a few months before we really start to kick off, perhaps with a committee meeting and talk about where we're going to go. Now that we have some new communities, how we're going to project that into the future with waste and recycling service. A lot of changes on that front are anticipated. Next up, general operating costs, right? Telephone, software are expected to remain the same. No anticipated change. And personnel expenditures for 2026 are anticipated to be in the same ballpark, with a increase of 4.5% for the executive director salary. To summarize, the proposed budget allows for continued growth of QBCOG services and programming while remaining conservative towards overall expenditures. It's the opinion of myself and the executive board that the budget accurately reflects the QBCOG's ability to provide a high level of services to each of its 17 member municipalities and the residents for 2026 and beyond. And below, you'll see, where our bank accounts have been over the last 5 years. We've really grown quite a bit. And the difference you may see, from September of 2024 to this year, the difference is really that recycling performance grant. Other than that, we're right where we want to be. So be happy to answer any questions. Julie, Daryl, did you have any thoughts, comments from our meeting?
I do not.
I would just say, I want to thank Patrick for putting a lot of time and thought into each line item. It was clear that he was doing calculations. I mean, being conservative, being with what revenues might come in, being realistic, and with the RAD money, going through and doing some like actual mathematical calculations to predict what might come in for RAD. So I want to thank you for your work on that, Patrick. And I think all of us expressed, really good feelings at the end of our budget meeting about how things are looking for next year. You'd see that the increase in our bank account is significant over the past 5 years. And I am also in support of the increase in the in the executive director's salary. So yeah, I'm in favor of this budget, and I think we can take any questions, and we'd like to take a motion tonight to pass this budget.
So moved.
Okay, we have our motion.
I don't have any questions, but I'll make a motion to pass it.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments before we vote? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Thank you, Patrick.
Thank you. All right, last up for new business, we have consideration of an appointment of Mr. Craig Ripple of Sewickley Borough to the UCC Board of Appeals. As you guys might recall, we've had a vacancy for about 3 months now, and Mr. Ripple has a background in commercial development and real estate as a whole, and I think he'd be a great fit. Julie actually introduced me to him. And we're going to set up a call to go over the the ins and outs of the UCC board, which has met a grand total of 0 times in my 5 years here as executive director. But
Big commitment.
we have had a number of calls, and we want to make sure that we're ready. And I've actually worked with our solicitor over the last couple months to revamp our application, make sure we have everything ready to roll if and when an applicant comes for Uniform Construction Code appeals. So again, we'll be setting up a call with Craig, and I'd be happy to answer any questions about the UCC board, but if not, we'll go ahead.
Yeah, we'd like to get a motion to appoint Craig Ripple to the UCC Board of Appeals.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any questions or comments? I would like to say thank you, Mr. Ripple, for volunteering. All right, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Moving on to item 13, we don't have any old business, so we'll move on to the concerns by delegates.
Yeah, let's bounce around here between Zoom and in person. Daryl, start us off.
Oh, I have nothing.
Nothing in Killbuck. All right. How about Ellen and Edgeworth?
Nothing big for us. We're starting our budget and our ADA parking project, which has a COG administered grant, is finally wrapping up, thankfully. So Patrick, I'll be calling you tomorrow about that.
Awesome. Glad to hear it. I don't know what's new in Sewickley Hills.
Something that came at our last borough meeting was some residents came and talked about some wells that are drying up. And so I'm aware that at least a few of our residents are having that kind of an issue. And I just wanted to kind of put that out there and see if anybody else is running into that. How kind of anecdotal is that? Of course, we have, many of our residents, on city water, but some are on wells, and I just want to get a feel if anybody else is running into or hearing that kind of thing happening. I know we are Sewickley Hills, so we're, probably a higher elevation, but any other boroughs hearing anything like that? Townships?
Killbuck hasn't known.
We have one resident in the entire borough that is on a well,
Okay.
and it's right beside the creek, so I don't expect that one to go dry.
I think we've put a few in Killbuck, but I haven't heard anything. No.
Nate, anything in Sewickley Heights that might be of similar concern?
No, we don't have any residents on wells that I'm aware of anyhow.
Fair enough. Has been very dry.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Nate, while you're there, anything in Sewickley Heights you want to report?
We just wrapped up our road work for the year. Ellen and I are going to be working together on the opening of Way Hollow, since both of our boroughs will take ownership of that, to get a hold of the posted speed limit, hopefully before it opens, and get into our budget season here. So that's about it.
Awesome. Julie, what's new in Sewickley?
Honestly, nothing that I can think of tonight.
All righty. Steve, Van Haven Heights.
Yeah, I was going to steal Daryl's thunder, but we finally approved a Courtney Mill
agreement for a road that we share. Runs behind the Shanapin Country Club. So thanks to Daryl for finally getting that wrapped up and getting that work going. We had our second park beautification plan meeting, which was actually at our community sleepover in the park event this weekend. So we got the community out to go look at some drawings and voice their opinions, put red and green dots on the different designs and layouts, and pretty interesting stuff there. So once we get that to a stronger point where we're starting to get into the overall plan, we'll be looking for grant work to kind of supplement that over the next 4 to 5 years. I would imagine it's a pretty big project for us. And then finally, zoning ordinance. We got through about 13 working sessions over the past year to update our zoning ordinance. So we have it in a pretty good place, and hope to get that through some public hearings over the next few months. That's all I've been
Excellent.
having.
Paul, what's new in Emsworth?
Absolutely nothing.
I like it.
So do I.
Dan, how about Bellevue? We need to hear the update on the music festival.
Oh, where to begin? First of all, Patrick, thank you for the event. I do apologize. I was late. I was taking my final exam. But yeah, so it was a great event when I did get there. So, more importantly, Bellevue Music Festival will continue to happen on September 27th. They have confirmed 67 bands
Oh my God.
spread out through Bellevue in 10 different businesses. When I say businesses, I mean businesses. And if you've been to Bellevue, we've got a couple businesses that are bigger, but most of them are on the small side. Occupancy max, maybe 49, 50 people. So they are still estimating 1,000 people. We've made some headway, we'll say. We did meet with their committee a couple times, but there are so many holes in their plan. It was scary, to say the least. Their idea of public works was them walking around to the borough-owned trash receptacles, emptying them, and taking them back to their houses to empty the trash. Um, they thought that they could get away with 2 police officers for security staffing for an 8-hour day for 1,000 people. When we shared the rates of what the cost would actually be, they said, "Well, I guess we'll figure out that." So, um, all in all, it's a mess. The borough is going to proactively staff how we feel it needs to be staffed. We've already been told that the PLCB will be in town that day. So we're trying to give our businesses a heads up that you better be carding every single person, because the borough, that's not the borough. And they were told that the businesses are responsible for monitoring alcohol consumption, which is, typical. But for patrons that buy a beer or a drink, they will not be allowed to take it outside, and the business is responsible for stopping that person from taking a beer outside during a music festival. So it's going to be a very interesting day. I have an event outside of the borough that day, so I will not be around. Julie, I know you offered to be my eyes and ears.
Do you still want me to attend undercover?
No. We've got plenty of eyes and ears. I know our police chief is going to be there that day, and Jim Kelly, our borough manager, is actually going to come down for the day and be around keeping an eye on things. The worst part about all of this, guys and gals, is that this organization told some of the business owners that the borough was not entitled to know the plan for this event. So we're very disappointed. I read quite a lengthy statement at our last public meeting, kind of expressing my frustrations and concerns with this organization. So yeah, I hope to have good news at our next meeting next month, that this all went off without a problem. But we will see. Time will tell. So other than that, we're doing our streetscape project still on Lincoln Avenue. We started our milling and paving for the year finally. So that's got some residents up in arms about that. But all in all, good things. Even with a giant music festival in 2 weeks.
Right on. Okay. How about Donna? Did we see what's new in Leet yet?
We don't have much of anything really going on at this point. I'm just very, very happy that I'm not Daniel. I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Dan, I didn't ask, did you pass the Master Beekeeper's test?
Yes, I did. Yes.
Congratulations.
So, thank you very much. Yeah.
All right, Tavia, what's new?
Can't think of anything this month. I don't think.
No news is good news most of the time.
Yep.
And Diane, what's new in Glen Osborne? Diane's muted. John, Ann, did you guys want to bring anything to the group's attention?
Well, we're gearing up to work on our budget, but we feel like we're in pretty good shape this year, so that's good news. Otherwise, sort of the regular planning for projects for next year in that context, thinking about grant options and funding options for various road or sewer projects.
Awesome. And I saw you guys awarded the bid for the next phase of the sewer line project, so
Yes.
excited to get that started with you guys too.
Yes. Thank you.
Ellen, no, we already went to Edgeworth. Anyone that didn't give an update? I think we went around the horn here on both Zoom and in person. Mixed it up a little bit. Not alphabetical order this time. All right.
Okay. Well, that concludes our meeting. Thank you for your attention, everyone, and your time. We really do appreciate the time that you spend at these meetings and the opportunity to get together and hear each other. And I know it's long, so I just want to thank you for being here. And I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Second. I saw you earlier.
All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. See you next month.